Well, Megan, you told me last week that episode 4 would blow me away, and it did. Why? I don't even know where to start other than just wow. I felt like I was on a time roller coaster that didn't stop. How about you?
Pretty similarly, I think, especially right at the beginning of the episode, in what was, to me, and I'm sure the vast majority of the other women watching this show, the least surprising plot twist of all time occurred when Victor or Kang or He Who Remains got rid of the assistant who had helped him, or the partner who had helped him do so much work, build everything, and wiped her memory to rule everything solo. That just smarted.
So it does make a lot of sense, and I thought it explained a lot about the TVA. Sometimes I had trouble following on. There were so many different things, almost different. I don't want to say different timelines because we were in one timeline, but there were so many different strands that were going on in this. I don't know why the Doc strand really impacted me,
Mhm.
where she flipped. I'm not sure she felt any remorse for murdering billions or millions or however many she killed when she blew up those timelines in episode 2. But she seemed ready to go to stop what was going on now and willing to die for that. And
What a
her
great
team
parting
was,
line, too, right?
yeah,
That's how do you feel knowing we'd rather die than follow you out that door? Ooh, it hit
right.
home too.
So I thought that was great. I love the inexorable time loop quandaries. And we had that with Timely and Obi. With Obi built the handbook for the TVA based on what Timely gave him, but query, how did Timely give it to him if he hadn't created it yet? So those paradoxes I just love.
Oh, and how cute were they? That was just, it was so adorable. I loved that.
We did see a side of Timely there that I really enjoyed because you're right. He was cute and he was adorable. Um, he clearly can geek out with the best of them when called upon to do so. And if you can't geek out with Obi, you're not breathing. So, um, uh, when you start pruning yourself, or I should say, variants of yourself, I get a little uneasy because what happens if you prune the wrong variant inadvertently? Or are you the variant and are you pruning the real you? Um,
Mhm.
so I was pretty shocked when Loki pruned himself, or at least a variant of himself.
That was the part I didn't quite follow. I wasn't quite able to track why there were two Lokis.
Well, I guess I've just realized now that he is a variant throughout time,
Mhm.
and that's really as far as I can get. Um, it was I'm I don't want to say I've seen evolution in him, but if you go back to where he started with the first Thor, and
Mhm.
obviously New York and the Avengers, and the battles between he and Thor in Asgard, and all of the crappy things he did
Mhm.
to his brother and others, is a very different Loki.
He is
And
very
so,
different.
first, I wondered, has Loki evolved, or is this a variant that literally went in a different direction? Any thoughts?
I couldn't. I didn't understand where the other came from, unless maybe it was from one
Mm.
of the very earliest episodes when he was kind of time slipping. Maybe there was a duplication at some point. But I couldn't quite understand why he was there or why he needed to be pruned. That was the only thing in the episode I didn't really get.
And I had always assumed Loki was a god, a Norse god to be sure, but a god, and that's why he had powers beyond what you and I have. Um, it wasn't magic, it was actual godlike powers.
Hmm.
And so, but this episode and a lot of the commentary really seemed to center around, or at least circle, magic as a skill and tool of Loki and of Sylvie, and how they may have survived the explosion because of magical abilities. Um, was he using magic way back when against his adopted brother Thor, or uh, did he have godlike powers?
Well, he's always had the ability to enchant, right? That's always kind of been one of
Right.
Loki's abilities. Um, and I thought the are they gods conversation, because he and Sylvie talked about that, right, when they were discussing what to do about the TVA, and making the decision about should these extra timelines be pruned, or should we leave them? And that is playing God, and he's just like, well, we are. Who better? I thought that was it was one of my favorite moments, actually, when Loki says, we are God. Somebody has to make this decision. A decision has to be made. So maybe they are the ones who should do it. Um,
Another question raised was about Victor Timely's willingness to enter the temporal loom. And that seemed to me to be almost a fait accompli, that, or even destiny. He has to do that because his mind and his aura created it, and he's the only one who can survive going into it. Um, and I really see a direct line from Victor to He Who Remains. Is that an open question for you at this point?
well, I mean, it must be another variant, because at the end of this episode, and what I found was a really shocking way to end. He went from kind of bold, noble gesture to spaghetti in 4 or 5 seconds. Uh, so I think there must have been another instance. There must be another variant, because I think the sweet man who is so charmed by a cocoa machine, I have trouble squaring with the master at the end of time.
He did. The Cocoa Machine made a very big impression.
Well, I was thinking about that. Thinking about like the where he grew up in what looked like a difficult area of Chicago at that time, under what could not have been there was terrible racism at the time. Labor to do anything was so difficult. I guess just the thought of, well, he never had the money to like employ servants to make him cocoa. So just the thought of being able to press a button and get this lovely luxurious drink must have been delightful.
What about Renslayer and Miss Minutes? I found, of all the characters in this episode, the most, to me, consistent and logical with literally everything she did or happened to her was Miss Minutes. Um, she was an AI. She evolved. She gave us information we didn't have before. Maybe, as you suggested, it wasn't too surprising. And then she gets turned off.
Yeah.
Well, of course you can shut her down. And OB says, "Oh yeah, I can do that." Why did you ask me before? Of course I can do that. How did you find, or did any of that surprise you about Miss Minutes in this episode?
What got me about Miss Minutes in this episode was right at the beginning, when she's about to show Renslayer kind of the little video of her being betrayed by He Who Remains. She did kind of a scan of the room. It almost seemed like to pull out that information or that scene from the ether. And it made me wonder what kind of surveillance the TVA has on the timeline, and every possible timeline, and is just a function of reality being recorded and stored in a database accessible to Miss Minutes. And they're the godlike powers to have all of that information. So I thought that was the most interesting thing. If kind of Miss Minutes having knowledge of you is a foundational element of the universe. I thought was kind of a fun idea. But that she could be turned off by OB, you're right. It's a really, really big conflict, isn't it?
Yeah. And why do you think she told Renslayer? Was it, I almost thought it was, at first it was something less than genuine. It was really designed to hurt Renslayer. And I thought, well, maybe that's not fair. Maybe it's one girl to the other. This is what he did to you. Is this something else?
I think he treated both of them shabbily, and I think Miss Minutes has her own agenda. But
Right.
I don't get the sense that she would hate sharing power as much.
Mm.
I don't think that I think it's gotta be lonely being an AI. I bet having, a partner that you can work with, I can see the appeal there. I guess I just want to. I don't hate the idea of them taking over the TVA and ruling the galaxy together. I'd read that
Right.
fan fiction. But we'll have to see because Renslayer was also pruned.
Yes.
So
And
maybe Miss Minutes caused that to happen.
I assume the gang is going to survive in some form. The blast, of course, we don't know that because it's a cliffhanger. But I just thought the ending was great. And
Fade to white.
we've only got a couple more left, so they're going to have to wrap it up pretty quickly. But I just thought it was literally some of the best science fiction I have seen recently, and the best science fiction to date in this season 2.
Oh, it was very interesting. I loved this episode, kind of as I mentioned last week, and I've just got one more point for this one. So the agent or the Minuteman who pruned Renslayer had the little glow, the magic, like the impacted by magic glow in his eyes, but it was blue and not
Right.
green. It was not a Loki glow. So where did the glow come from?
That's an excellent pickup. So for those who haven't seen it, all I can say is get yourself in front of a television.
Good episode.
It's a great episode. It really sets up. I think we're going to have just a slam bang ending to this that we're going to absolutely adore. So with that, I am Tom Fox.
I'm Megan Dougherty. See you next time.
This is Tom Fox again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the award-winning Because That's What Heroes Do. If you've enjoyed our podcast, I hope you'll subscribe, rate, and review wherever great podcasts are listened to. Because That's What Heroes Do is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.